is I basically say why can't we just have a constitutional amendment redefining marriage between two human beings, which is what the idea of marriage is, between two human beings. They can never really think of a reply, these people.
Yeah, people tend not to be able to reply when they're questioned into a corner. I mean, it just comes down to people need to realize what marriage is from a legal standpoint.
Now, I know things got heated in the aftermath of Prop 8's passage, and conservative TV pundits have been up in arms about what they perceive as aggression by gay protesters. Do you have any comment on some of the incidents that have been reported, like the old Christian lady who had the cross knocked out of her hands, or the demonstrators who invaded the church service?
Yeah, unfortunately these things happen. I mean, it's horrible that they are happening, but they are happening. And me and the other groups that I work with are trying to stop that from happening. We don't condone any form of violence, any form of anger. We're even trying to move away from protesting churches. I mean, these people are the extremes of the movement. They don't represent the majority. It's just, we're trying to fight for equal rights. We don't need the anger. We don't need the violence. And we're trying to get as many people to realize that as possible. And it's going to happen. There's extremists in every group.
Right. And it seems to me that Fox News really, in particular, made a bigger issue than really is at hand here. But what I find funny is that Fox News condemns gay organizations and gay groups for publicizing people who supported Prop 8, but yet Fox News will never report on conservative groups who publicize people who were for abortion or anything like that. There seems to be a double standard when it comes to this issue of just letting people know who supported what and so on.
Well, Fox News is very biased. I mean, just in general, they're set in their ways. They're going to just report on what they want to report to. They're in a good time now because they can blame the Democrats for everything now.
Yeah, that's true, and they're already blaming the Democrats for this, for the economy, for everything else there.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. I mean, Democrats have been in power for what, negative 30 days?
Do you think some of the conservative pundits out there, I mean, we've seen, especially after November 4th, the blaming of the minority community, African Americans. 70%, according to exit polls, 70% of African Americans voted this, and they were basically responsible for the banning of gay marriage. Do you think that African Americans have sort of been a scapegoat here? Because according to what I've seen, African Americans only made up about 770,000 voters in San Francisco. How is 70% of 770,000 enough to uphold the ban on gay marriage?
It's funny because that is enough, but at the same time, it's not just that went into it. I got that question right out at the beginning of this movement too, and my response then is the same as it is now. It doesn't have to do with the race of who voted. I mean, that doesn't matter who it is, because it just comes from personal views. As a whole, African Americans tend to be more churchly and homely. So of course their views are going to be more to the religious side of the argument. So that's where that vote came from. It has nothing to do with the fact that they were African Americans. It has nothing to do with the fact that more African Americans came out to vote for Barack Obama. That's what it is. And it would have been enough, but at the same time, if the Mormon Church didn't provide so much, then there wouldn't have been so many people voting yes. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, and it's really awful for people to be scapegoated for stuff that isn't exactly the entire truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And from what I've seen, really, the people that are really responsible for this are the McCain supporters, or the people that supported the Iraq War, the less educated people. In fact, I think there was a poll that just came out recently that suggested that the people that really upheld this ban on gay marriage, voted yes for Prop 8, were the less educated of the voters.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was the hardcore conservatives. The majority of the vote was the hardcore conservatives. The people who, who voted for Bush, who voted for McCain, who were in favor of the Iraq War, even after they found out that there wasn't any weapons of mass destruction. I mean, it's just the typical group that voted yes on it is the typical group that's going to continue to vote yes on it everywhere around the country.
We're talking to Brandon Santo of the Million Gay March. I want to talk about gay public figures in general. I've seen some people claim that gay public figures have a responsibility to come out in some way, citing the fact that if it could help gay young men feel less alienated, they should do it. Do you have any thoughts on that? Should gay people come out just out of responsibility for other gay people, or should they remain in the closet, do you think?
I think it's everybody's right to do what they feel is best for them. You know, if they're happy living in the closet, if they're happy hiding their dark secret, it's their choice. You know, everyone's entitled to some privacy.
Absolutely. And, you know, I don't know. To me, it really bothers me. You know, we've seen a lot of Republican Party figures getting involved with sex acts and so forth. Larry Craig comes to mind. He was a senator who was involved with that bathroom incident. But it seems as though that the people that are really the loudest on this issue, guys like Tony Perkins and other far-right conservatives, do you think there's a possibility that they may be rebelling against themselves because so many of these conservatives are either gay or have someone that is gay in their family very close to them, you know?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of that because the stigma hasn't really been changed yet to where it's completely acceptable. I mean, it's getting there. You know, nowadays, the younger generations in high school and stuff like that are a lot more accepting to the fact that there's going to be gay people, and it's not as big of an issue anymore. But, you know, the far right, and they're from a different generation.
Right.
You know, it's from a generation where it wasn't acceptable. So they've been hiding it, and now they've been hiding it for so long that they can't not hide it anymore. You know, it comes down to their self-loathing, and it's because of how they were raised.
That brings me to another point, actually. One absolutely stupid thing I've heard people say is that there are a lot of disproportionately large number of gay characters on TVs and movies, which is causing a, quote, backlash against gay people in general. What do you think when people say that sort of thing?
You know, if it wasn't too many on TV, it'd be too little. People are always going to find something to complain about that stuff. You know, and I think that the gay community's been represented fairly good on TV recently. I mean, there's a nice spread of the differences in the gay community. And I think that it's just doing more to further our cause. I don't think in any way it's hurting it.
What do you think of Rachel Maddow?
I don't know who that is.
Do you know who Dan Savage is?
Maybe.
Dan Savage is works for Bill Maher. He's a real-time reporter. He writes a column, a syndicated column called, I think it was Savage Love or something like that. He's great. I mean, he's just a great representation for the gay community, as is Rachel Maddow, who has her own MSNBC show.
Yeah, I do know who Rachel Maddow is.
Yeah, she's great. I mean, she was an AIDS activist for years, and she is just one of those positive people. What about Rosie O'Donnell? Do you think someone like Rosie O'Donnell does the movement any good?
Oh, Rosie. Yeah. I think that she is extreme. She's an extremist. She's so far left that she's left the whole spectrum. But I think overall, a lot of people do respect what she says, do agree with the majority of stuff she says, except for when she makes outrageous claims. But I think it does good to show that side of it, too. You know, then there's Ellen DeGeneres, who's the other side of that spectrum, too.
Right.
You know, she's a liberal, but at the same time, she's not a crazy, in-your-face one. You know, so there's those two. They even each other out. I think that we couldn't not have her. I think that's just what it is. I mean, she doesn't hurt it, but she doesn't help it.
Assuming that these three justices uphold the ban on gay marriage, when is the next time the voters in California are going to be able to vote for this? Is it going to be 2010?
You know, that's a really hard thing to know because of the fact that seeing as if they uphold the ban, it will then be a constitutional amendment, and then we will have to go through the process that they should have gone through when they did this, which is getting 2/3 of the legislature, which we already have the support there to do that, but then we also have to get 2/3 of the people voting to vote in our favor.
Right.
And I don't think California's ready for that yet. I mean, we're looking at right now 56% of the vote in our favor, and we need 66.
Right.
You know, we could do it, but it's going to be really hard to change another 10% of the people's vote.
Listen, it's been great having you on the show. This is an issue which isn't going away, and hopefully thanks to people like you getting the word out, we can try to reverse some of the damage and discrimination caused by the passage of Prop 8 and similar amendments. Is there anything you'd like to mention before I let you go?
Yeah, just check out the website, www.milliongaymarch.org. Just check it out. There's going to be a lot of national events coming up. So, you know, go on there, see what's up, sign up for the newsletter, and keep involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And what could people do, I mean, aside from going on the website to really be active when it comes to this issue? I mean, I have my little FM radio show here, and I encourage people to post blogs and to send emails and reach out to other people who feel the same way you do.
Yeah, just get involved, have conversations with people, explain to people what's going on. Not only that, with a lot of the national events that are coming up, there's opportunities for you to organize your own events. Go out there and do it. We have a lot of people doing it right now. Go out there and do it too. It's not that hard to do. It's difficult, but it's not that hard. And if you're passionate about it, just get involved. That's all it comes down to, getting involved.
Brandon Santo of the Million Game March, thank you very much for coming on Carson's Corner.
Thank you.